Bullying to me is when one individual intimidates or harasses another individual into doing something that they don't want to do.
Harm to another from another.
Unwanted physical or verbal harassment.
Physical harm or emotional harm.
Intentionally hurting someone.
Bullying is a systematic abuse of power, so it's repeated aggressive behaviors where someone, or it could be a group of people usually, that are picking on somebody who is defenseless and can't really fight back or has the capabilities or resources to fight back. And it could be physical or it could be relational, like through social media and spreading rumors. People who are bullied tend to feel depressed, so they can develop depression. They can experience anxiety, psychosomatic symptoms like expressing anxiety through their health, so having stomach aches, headaches, backaches, those kinds of things. And sometimes it can even lead people to think about suicide a lot, which is called suicidal ideation, and they might even attempt suicide. Also, it could affect their academic capabilities, so they might drop out of school because they want to avoid interacting with the bullies or the bully.
I remember in the 3rd grade, this girl told me I should eat dirt, and I said no. And then she grabbed me by the hair and got a spoonful of dirt and shoved it down my throat. And then I cried and told my teacher, and my teacher felt that I was considered a crybaby because I would cry a lot, and she called my dad, and then he cussed me out for crying in front of the class. That affected me because I felt there was nowhere I could turn. I remember feeling like I was alone, and then I told my stepmom, and she yelled at my teacher, so that made me feel a lot better. But that often, stuff like that, you feel like you're helpless, you don't have any control over the situation. One time I stood up to those people who did that to me, and then they still pushed me right back down, but I felt better about myself because I knew that they probably wouldn't mess with me as much anymore because they knew I was getting fed up with it and I was tired of it. I was in a school that was predominantly black, but I didn't act to the social standards of a black person, so I was treated differently. I was known as the weird kid, and they called me whitewashed often, stuff like that.
As a young kid, I was transferred from private school to public school, so the transition, as usual, to everybody is a little hard. I didn't really get along with everyone because the way everything was done was so different. Because we would all have to be in the area at a certain time, and then sometimes I would be left behind, or sometimes I would be pushed aside. I was always this big guy, and then in private school it was okay because the teachers always got in everyone's case. But in public school, teachers can't give that attention as much. So kids will usually call me fat or ugly in some cases, and I was also bullied because as I got older, I kind of got hairier, as you can tell, and Sasquatch and all these other names aren't very fun.
I think bullies bully because it makes them feel good. When there was this kid walking down the stairs, a person pushed him down the stairs and he ran off. And then the kid was crying, and then no one saw him, but someone walked outside and they saw him crying. I asked him what happened, and he said he pushed him down the stairs. I took him into the office, and he was bleeding by his knee. When my friends were being bullied, I would tell him to go tell an adult or the principal. If there's no one around, you can go tell your parents.
My name is Alex Villaneda. I'm a peer advocate with Project Ocean. Project Ocean stands for On Campus Emergency Assistance Network, and we're part of CSULB under our CAPS office, which is the Counseling and Psychological Services. So what Project Ocean does is we provide, our goal is awareness of mental health issues, and specifically we like to focus on suicide prevention because suicide is such a prevalent issue in our society. Right now it's second in leading causes of death among students, specifically college-age students, so 18 to 25, but it's also the most preventable kind of death. So our goal is to lower that. I struggled sort of with suicidal thoughts when I was in high school. sort of just going through, so my dad passed away when I was 15, and being Latino and being male, there's sort of this like machismo thing where you can't ask for help, or you have to handle everything yourself, right? So one of the things that I grew up sort of bottling all that in and not being able to express myself. So when I joined, because I'm trying to sort of fight that kind of thing, where it's like a lot of the times I could have just simply asked for help and it would have made things a lot easier. So with Ocean, I get to actually spread that message that it's okay to ask for help and that it's okay to need help.
My name's Nick Peluso. I'm an intern here for Councilwoman Gonzalez. I'm a college student, a third year at UC Santa Barbara, and just doing some like legislative work for her. I was bullied in middle school a lot because I'm gay. I was called like a fag a lot and things like that. It was like before I grew up too, so I was like kind of chubby at the time. I got teased a lot like for being chubby or effeminate. So yeah, I'm no stranger to that.
If I were to see somebody being bullied, I would go out and stop it and try to figure out like who is being bullied and who is the bullier, and if I could like speak and have a conversation with them, I'd like to figure out what they were talking about or what was the issue, and educate them. You know, were they saying something that was sizist, that was homophobic, was it sexist, or you know, like what's the issue? Why you got to make fun of people? It definitely galvanized my identity for me once I came out as a gay man. It's always been a pretty like central part of my like political and social beliefs, like as it ties into being gay. And it's also definitely made me super anti-bullying. And I mean, just doing something like this, probably wouldn't have done this if I hadn't been bullied in middle school. Because I mean, unless you're bullied, you really don't know how horrible it feels.
The Anti-Defamation League is a large civil rights organization. We were founded in 1913 to stop the defamation of the Jewish people, but also fight against bias and bigotry against all people. So we're a comprehensive civil rights organization that works in issues of racial justice, confronting religious bigotry, homophobia, heterosexism, xenophobia, different forms of bias. We have a unique philosophy when we look at bullying, and that's that most acts of bullying that occur are rooted in bias or picking on someone because they're different. So picking on someone because of their skin color, or because of their religion, or because of their sexual orientation, or because of their parents don't speak English, or because of their immigration status, or whatever reason, that we believe that most of the time when young people are bullied, it's because of one of those identifying characteristics. And so that's the philosophy that we've always taken. So all of our resources and assistance that we provide to schools and to students and to teachers and families are based around that. And that's why a civil rights organization that focuses on things like equality and equitable access would focus on bias-related bullying.
My name's Dr. Marie Lynette Aldapa. I teach here at Carnegie Middle School, social studies. Bullying, it would be someone who thinks they have power over another and abuses that power to make the other person feel powerless, oppressed, put down. Bullying isn't just a one-on-one reaction. I think bullying also is a societal thing. And the ultimate bullying would be some sort of discrimination, bigotry, hatred. So I think racism, sexism, classism, and homophobia are all ways of bullying a certain group of people in society, so that those who have the power would push down those who don't have power. Now, for me personally, when I was growing up, when I was 12, I realized, and that was back in 1973, I realized I was lesbian. And so back then, the U.S. society didn't really honor anyone who was gay or lesbian. In fact, it wasn't until 1973 in December that the American Medical Association said that homosexuality was not something that you could be thrown into an insane asylum for, because before that, your family could throw you into an insane asylum. So after 73 up until now, it's been rough growing up and knowing that who I am. Also coupled with the fact that I'm Catholic, devout Catholic. And so anyway, throughout the years, there was a ministry open to gay and lesbian Catholics in 1986, and I joined in about 1996. So around 1999, California had the precursor to Prop 8, and they called it Prop 22 about the marriage initiative for same-sex marriage. So during that time, everyone was up in arms, and society was like, no, and the Catholic Church, the bishops even, no. But here we were a ministry for lesbian and gay Catholics. It's like, we already know we can't get married. We already know that we can't have children of our own. Why would our bishops, be so forceful and not protect us, their sheep? They let us out to the wolves. So one night we were going to have a meeting in LA, and it was a rainy night, and I was on my way to the meeting. And I had a rough day at school too. So society's telling me I'm unlovable, the church is telling me I'm unlovable, so I'm just feeling completely unlovable. So I'm driving and I'm thinking, why put up with this stuff anymore? Maybe I should just run my car off the road and make it look like an accident and put an end to this. But then I thought, no, I can't do that to my parents, and who would take care of my cat? I didn't know. So I started yelling at God, I'm like, hey, what's this? What is this for? I need a sign, tell me. So I get to the meeting, and I'm one of two lesbians, all the guys again, and it's I'm a minority among the minorities again. And so the priest says, I have no words any longer. Lynette, lead us in prayer. I don't remember what I said, but apparently it was something that he liked. And so by the end of the meeting, he says, Lynette, I need you to write us a ministry prayer to help us verbalize what we're going through. So I knew I had my sign from God. I wrote the prayer. We've used it in our ministry meetings and other gatherings. And as of June last year, it was included in a book called Living True, Lesbian Catholics Tell Their Stories, or something, I forget the last tagline, but it's called Living True. And so now the prayer and the story I just told you is included in this compilation of women's stories. And I'm just hoping that other people can, see themselves and say, oh, I can overcome, I can still hang in there. There's a reason for me being who I am and how I am, because we all matter. It doesn't matter who you are, we all matter.
My name is Mr. Dyke. I'm a special ed teacher at Rancho Dominguez. One of my kids was we were going around to recycle to the classes, and we're doing the recycling program. And one of my kids walked up to a student that was just standing in the hallway, and he just went up and started slapping him in the face like that. And the guy was ready to hit him, but I jumped in and was able to not have him hit him. I said, we're working on behavior issues with him, please, let it go this time. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like he meant anything. He just walked up and he just started slapping him in the face, and then the guy was scared at first, and then he was getting ready to punch him. And that was one example. But again, you couldn't tell by looking at the kid that he had any kind of disability or any kind of drama going on in his own head.
So when you hear the word bullying, what does it mean?
Bullying in school.
Bullying's at school?
Yes.
Do you see bullying happen?
Hmm?
What do you see when you see bullying happen?
School, lunch.
During lunch?
Yes.
How do you feel right now? Is today a good day for you? Do you feel good?
Somebody needs to stop and harvest the...
If you were to see a bully right now, like if you saw a bully, what would you tell the bully?
Because I was the bully start fight, start to fight and start ignoring him.
Well, you never know what somebody's going to say. You don't know what they've been around. You don't know. The best thing that we try to do here is to expose our kids to get them out there in the crowd. Let them mingle with the crowd. yet keep a close distance, but let them mingle, let them ask questions, let them experience, and let the other kids in general, let them experience what they've got it good. They can read, they can write, they can think on their own. They know, or they should know, how to act in public.
What can I do?
Yeah, what can you do to help stop bullying?
To make a picket sign?
A picket sign.
Yeah.
To put up signs everywhere?
Yeah.
Like the ones right behind you?
Yes.
Alright. So together making signs we could help stop bullying. Are you ever afraid that your students will pick up bad habits such as bullying from general ed students?
They already do. They see it, and then we have to go over it over and over again. I wish, as a teacher, I wish that they would teach some of these manners again to the kids, the general ed classes, as part of the curriculum, so that they understand and they can learn how to get along with other people, no matter what their disability is. I think that should come back. We used to have it when I was a kid, but they don't do that anymore. It's reading and writing and arithmetic. That's it.
We provide a lot of resources to get people the help they need. We hold workshops, so we try to promote all our workshops to get people trained. Our biggest workshop is it's called QPR, so it's Question, Persuade, Refer, and it's a suicide prevention training. One of the things we talk about in QPR is basically opening up communication. So a lot of people are afraid to ask about mental health issues because it's so stigmatized. So when we teach QPR, one of the things we teach is asking the question, asking someone if they're okay, if they need help, if they're having these thoughts. A lot of people are afraid to ask that question because it's so stigmatized. So we teach that asking the question is the first step to lowering suicide risk, because it opens up communication and it allows students to talk about it. Because when you're having these thoughts, you feel isolated and alone. So by opening up communication, there's another option, and they can come to each other to help each other. So our big goal is like peer-to-peer, sort of friends helping friends.
There are a lot of really good, free, confidential resources out there that anyone can access. They don't cost money, they don't cost minutes from cell phones. They have things like Teen Line here in California, the Trevor Project for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning young people. Certainly big school districts like Los Angeles Unified School District have free and confidential resources for students. And I really, it's not easy to tell teenagers to reach out and ask for help, because teenagers generally think they can do everything on their own. But that's cool, but it's cool to ask for help, and also getting that message out there.
Oh, my name is Jim Deere. My last name is spelled D-E-A-R. I'm the mayor of the city of Carson, California. I was bullied. I was in one time, and I was in what's called junior high school before it was middle school. It was just maybe a mile and a half from where we're sitting, a mile and a half from Carson City Hall. There was a boy in high school, a few years older than me, taller than me, bigger than me, and he told me that I was not to talk to a certain girl that I was attracted to, that I was fond of. And so he tried to tell me that many, many times. And one day I was coming home. I didn't drive yet, I was still in junior high school. My brother was giving me a ride from my friend's house back home. And my brother, who was an athlete, he said, "You've got to confront the bully. If you don't confront him, he's going to continue spreading rumors about you, making you look bad, and interfering with your social life, a proper, healthy social life." So in this particular instance, I thought my brother would be with me, and the bully was walking down the street where I lived on, and the girl that I was fond of was staying overnight with a friend who lived on my street. And so my brother said, "Isn't that the kid that's been bullying you?" And I was with another friend, George, and George said, "Oh yeah, that's the kid." So my brother stopped the car, and I felt pretty protected and confident. because my brother was a very successful athlete and real strong and older than all of us. And then I thought, well, it's my brother, plus my friend, plus me, and there's just two of them. So my brother stopped the car, we got out, and my brother proceeded to drive on without us. And here I am, confronting the bully, and my friend whispered, George whispered to me, your only chance is to hit him first. So I'm not proud of this because it was actually a violent act, but I did punch the kid. And it was a lucky punch, I think, because I wasn't really a fighter. But his hands went up in the air, and fell back on the ground. He had a bloody nose. And then I was really surprised. I actually hit him with my right hand, and whenever I use chopsticks to this day, this finger, when I close it, it closes normally. But this finger, when I close it, it doesn't close normally. Because I broke my hand punching him. Now, I couldn't tell my mother I was in a fight because I would be in real trouble if I did that. So I never went to the doctor or had it healed. But this reminds me all the time that I confronted a bully, and in this case, it worked. I don't recommend it to other people. Don't do this at home. And that's my true life experience dealing with a bully. He never bullied me again from that day on. I offered him like my handkerchief because my dad told me always have a handkerchief, with you, because he was bleeding, and I gave him my handkerchief. And he left, I left, and that was the end of it. And then we became friends later. So it was one of those things that kind of a juvenile growing up experience, coming of age experience for me at that point. But I don't recommend anyone approach it in that way because things could have gone terribly wrong. I mean, you might say it's wrong the way it happened, but it could be much worse.
If you read about bullies, actually, there's a lot of negative outcomes for the bullies themselves, right? There's like depression. When they follow bullies to when they're older, they tend to get in trouble with the law more, with police. They have problems in their romantic relationships. They have a lot of conduct problems at school. So like for themselves, it's not good to be a bully. So maybe to like inform people that, it's not helpful to be a bully for yourself. But also it's more of a systematic thing because they come from neighborhoods where it's really rough, there's a lot of crime and drugs. So I think people need to address kind of that macro level issue first and where they come from to help bullies kind of get better and recover. Most psychologists have recognized that it's not just like an individual problem, but it should be a community problem. So individually, the child should, tell somebody, they should seek maybe some therapy, some help, someone to talk to about it. But also the school as a whole needs to like support that individual and identify bullies and strategies to fight bullies, and it really takes the whole community to help combat it.
To the people that are being bullied, I would say develop a thick skin and take things with a grain of salt. By that I mean, don't let what they're saying get to you, because they might be saying that because they're insecure or because they think they'll make them look cool actually. And in actuality, it's very sad because you're actually bringing someone else down.
Just stick your ground, know who you are as a person, and know what they're saying might not be true, If you feel like you're someone and they're telling you you're someone else, don't step down to their level and be that other person, just be yourself.
There's a great example that we highlight a lot it came from Nova Scotia in Canada, where there was a freshman who walked in on his first day of high school, which is terrifying enough for a ninth grader or a freshman just to begin with. And he was wearing a pink shirt, and people started saying really mean and awful things to this kid in Canada. And so a bunch of the seniors saw what was happening. They didn't like it. So these 12th grade guys, right, because a lot of times guys don't step in. And we need to encourage young men to get in on and step in when they see something that's wrong. They went out and they all wore pink the next day and bought like 50 pink shirts at a thrift store and gave them in. So the entire school was wearing pink on the second day of school. And this 9th grader who had a really rough, rocky first day felt really supported.
I think like an educational campaign such as this is a great idea, because a lot of times I think kids just kind of open their mouths and say things to other people and don't really know the weight of their words. Like when I was younger, an older woman told me one time, you know, like, you can hurt someone as much as you want with a knife or anything like that, but you can kill someone with your words. And not literally, but something you say to someone, I mean, they can remember it the rest of their lives, and you don't want to put that kind of a thing on someone.
The primary goal of any government is to provide services for its constituents and to protect its constituents. For example, national government of the United States of America is to protect our residents, the American citizens, from war, from foreign invaders, and also to provide them services. You know, and it just goes to the local area here, at the municipal level in the city of Carson. It's the same thing, just on a smaller scale. We're to provide public safety, make sure that our residents feel safe here in Carson, and also to provide services for them, amenities like our Parks and Recs department provides services for all the kids. I grew up here in Carson, and I love Carson. You know, Carson's been good to me. I played at our local parks, attended our local public schools, Carson Street Elementary School, played at Carson Park. And I wanted to have the opportunity to give back and make a difference and make Carson better. You know, I would say that Carson has a number of priorities. Number one priority is public safety. Our residents need to know that when they're in Carson, they're safe. When people feel safe, businesses will come here. When we have more businesses, we have more resources available to provide greater services to our residents, and it kind of just feeds on itself and create a snowball effect. So to the extent that bullying makes people feel unsafe, makes them feel uncomfortable, and somewhere where they don't want to be, because nobody likes to be bullied. Nobody likes to feel that they're being threatened or intimidated. So if that's a problem for them, for that individual, it's the number one priority. Well, bullying is part of that public safety number one priority that I think any municipal government needs to provide to its residents. It's a component of it. Last year, ordinance was on our agenda to criminalize bullying. I do know that bullying is a problem. So what I proposed instead was that the city invest and spend money, just under $100,000, to create an anti-bullying awareness campaign. Because I think one of the biggest problems with bullying is that it's kept quiet. Remember, I talked, it's kept under the radar. People don't feel comfortable talking about it because they don't want to be accused of, you know, or picked on or whatever, you know. So we're in the process right now of getting, we contracted with a nonprofit that has expertise and knowledge in bullying, and they're doing a couple of community forums to get input. And I'm hopeful that by the summertime, that campaign will kick off, and Carson will be the very first city, if not one of the first, if not the first city in the entire world to have an anti-bullying campaign, and that our kids will then feel safe like they should.